fans. We have some guests in the FARC offices today. Standing outside my booth is FARC Lowe Dollar Series regular Truman Ellison, who won the poll for the GoNav UFO 100 at the newly reopened Roswell Speedway in New Mexico, which was fitting, as he was a major investor in the track's renovations. He is joined by two other men. They were not invited here by FARC, they just marched into the studio as I was setting up, and they've been staring at me ever since. I don't think they have blinked once. As I said earlier, this week's FARC Lowe Dollar Series race was the first event held at the Roswell Speedway in almost 10 years, following up on the sudden announcement at the beginning of the season that a group of unnamed investors, along with Truman Ellison, purchased the track with the goal of reopening it in time for this race. The track was built in 1997 during the Speedway boom of that period, and it hosted several high-profile races in the beginning, but attendance was always lacking, and it didn't help that the track was plagued by strange events. The last straw for the track was the Formula Overdrive race held there in 2009, where only about 3,000 spectators attended, and a large number of them disappeared after the race for anywhere from days to months. I think I said something wrong. Ellison just signaled for his goons, friends, to enter my booth. Hey, I'm live in here! Mr. Ellison, this is not how you ask for an interview!
Not to worry, motor racing enthusiasts, for I have returned. Please forgive the change in my voice. I am currently experiencing a medical problem. I am likely to be okay, pending my cooperation. But enough about that. Behold, for you lazy humans who could not be bothered to attend our glorious triumph, the GoNav UFO 100. Our very good friend Truman Ellison qualified in the number 1 starting spot. In the second spot, in the machine numbered 99, is Carl Hampton, number 4, the young heir of the powerful and terrifying Carl Superstore's empire. But Hampton falls out of line as Truman Ellison is pursued by Chuck Johnson, who was declared the FARC champion of the 2016 orbit under highly farcical circumstances. But Ellison is having trouble maintaining the lead, allowing Johnson to advance. I wonder if the number 03 team failed to properly calibrate his thrusters, an infraction that is usually punished with hard labor in the sulfur mines. On the second circuit, we have an example of amateurish piloting as Michaela Perry-Jones and Carl Hampton make contact and crash into the outside retaining wall. And now on circuit number 4, we have a race stoppage as the number 25 machine of Danica Hollifield spins out of control through the grass. Xander Massey and Farrell Burgundy were also involved in this accident. However, all pilots were uninjured thanks to the paltry speeds that these FARC machines race at. In comparison to other advanced forms of racing, a few pilots elect to pull into the service lane during this stoppage, including Truman Ellison, who determined that his machine needed some serious maintenance after that poor start. Chuck Johnson from the race lead had to make an emergency service stop, coming to the restart. But Chuck Johnson's unfortunate fade to irrelevancy would be a huge gain for Todd Stater in machine number 66, who takes the lead over from Mark Thompson upon the restart. Zach Webster in the machine numbered 41 becomes a victim of the inferior quality of the FARC machines. Webster would have to retire from the race on the 11th circuit. Meanwhile, Mark Thompson reclaims the race lead as his championship adversary, Chuck Johnson, interferes with the right-hand lane. Mark Thompson has sat at the top of the championship rankings for most of the 2018 orbit, and as of now, he is set to lengthen the gap over Chuck Johnson. Moving up into third from the 19th starting spot is the silly little man Zachary Zins, who so boldly claims to know the truth about everything that he has entered this race with these truths plastered all over his machine. But while his pursuit of the real truths of this universe are futile, he is worthy of some credit as a moderately skilled pilot, and he did successfully resist the body-snatching incident of the FARC race held in the quaint little town of Nightvale during the 2017 orbit, an event that we understand these feeble-minded humans refuse to speak of. Zachary Zins overtook the second spot from Joshua Pacer in the number 88 machine and now challenges Mark Thompson for the race lead. Zachary Zins might be fast right now, but Truman Ellison is currently even faster. Ellison has charged from the 28th spot on the restart to 7th, taking that spot from Billy Ray Smith Thompson, the reigning FARC champion, who needs 4 names to make himself feel adequate. So it seems that Ellison's thruster problems have been resolved, and he is also taking advantage of the tires that he received during his earlier service stop, as these primitive duck roll tires from the hellscape that is Canada cannot hold up against the rough surface of the Roswell Speedway for more than a few circuits. But Ellison would soon be overtaken by Michaela Perry-Jones, who also received fresh tires on that service stop. And machine number 93 has become the fastest on the circuit. She would have no trouble chasing down the race leader, Zachary Zins, and taking over the top spot. I suppose Zachary Zins will consider this to be yet another conspiracy against him. The battle for the second position would become even more contested as the race progressed, and Michaela Perry-Jones drove away in the distance. Mark Thompson took the spot from Zachary Zins, and now Zins is about to fall prey to Truman Ellison for third. Keegan Mallory, the victor of the previous FARC race, was experiencing a disappointing performance down in 22nd, and now his power unit explodes. Please ignore the left side of the screen. He is not supposed to be there. Instead, focus on the lead that Michaela Perry-Jones has built up over this green flag run. The gap between Michaela Perry-Jones and Mark Thompson is almost 9 seconds at the moment. But on the 40th circuit, we would have another race stoppage. Foolish David Bloom in machine number 69 was so pitifully slow that Truman Ellison had no choice but to run into the back of him. And David Bloom's incompetence would also cause the human military veteran Harry S. Enola to crash. I do not know why we need a closer look at this footage. It is clear that the accident was the fault of David Bloom. Stop trying to twist the narrative. Seize this footage and seize the man who recorded it. But while we are tracking the origin of that footage, Michaela Perry-Jones and everybody else on the track has made a service stop for fresh duck roll tires. But upon the restart, Michaela Perry-Jones is surrounded by irrelevant traffic. Another challenge for the race leader, on top of having her lead erased. But what expert piloting from Truman Ellison to break through the traffic from the 7th spot on the restart all the way up to 2nd in the duration of a single circuit. But Mark Thompson, who was holding the 2nd spot until the race stoppage, is now experiencing difficulties as one of his mechanics failed to secure one of his wheels properly during his service stop. I do not envy the fate that might befall that mechanic for possibly jeopardizing Mark Thompson's championship campaign with so few races remaining. But while Mark Thompson falters, what a wonderful recovery from the start of the race for Truman Ellison and the number 03 team, as he takes the lead from Michaela Perry-Jones with 20 circuits remaining. But treachery lurks in his tracks. Billy Ray Smith Thompson restarted the race in 13th, and now he is the fastest machine on the track. He has just taken 4th place from Anthony Griffith in machine number 7. And Billy Ray Smith Thompson shows no signs of slowing down as he easily overtakes Michaela Perry-Jones for the 2nd position. I fear for Truman Ellison, who continues to maintain the lead with 10 circuits remaining now. But what is this? A reprieve for Truman Ellison as Billy Ray Smith Thompson struggles to overtake the lapped number 8 machine of his very own teammate, Rick Forrest. But this inconvenience does not last long, as Billy Ray Smith Thompson continues to hunt down the number 03 of Truman Ellison. But on the bright side, the humans in attendance are delighted at this competition, as this primitive species craves nothing more than the thrill of the hunt. Truman Ellison and Billy Ray Smith Thompson have distinct advantages on different parts of the circuit. Truman Ellison has much better straight line speed than the 42 machine, while Billy Ray Smith Thompson has more grip in the corners. And Billy Ray Smith Thompson has the upper hand, cruelly taking advantage of a flinch by Truman Ellison to take over the lead with just 2 circuits remaining. But before Ellison can fight back, his useless business partner, Hugh Patrick, impedes faster traffic and causes a crash and a race stoppage. That was Jeffa Jackson in the 05 who got into the back of the 33 the first time, and Hugh Patrick recklessly rejoined the racing surface, costing his so-called friend a chance at the victory. And here comes more traffic. Daniel Lecklider in number 10 crashes right into the back of Hugh Patrick. This foolish accident will rob us of the chance to witness a racing speed finish. But I begrudgingly congratulate Billy Ray Smith Thompson on his 3rd victory of the 2018 orbit. Truman Ellison fought valiantly, but he will have to settle for 2nd, while Michaela Perry-Jones finishes 3rd after commanding the first half of this race. Anthony Griffith demonstrates impressive stealth as he finishes 4th with no troubles. The 5th through 7th positions would go to Packer Carroll in the number 71 machine, Rip Tyler in the 16 machine, and Todd Stater in the 66 machine. And talk about stealth, Liam O'Connor in machine number 48 crashed when we weren't looking, but he would manage to finish in the 8th position. Johnny Ashcroft in the number 909 machine, painted a bright yellow as a cheap attention-grabbing tactic, finished in 9th. And finalizing the top 10 rankings for this race would be Kerry Fenton in machine number 64.
Billy Ray Smith Thompson leaps into 2nd place in the championship rankings thanks to his victory and the dreadful performances of Mark Thompson and Chuck Johnson. Daniel Lecklider, after crashing with 2 circuits remaining, would lose the 6th position to Jim Kidd and Packer Carroll, while Michaela Perry-Jones moves to 9th. Truman Ellison advances to a tie for 12th, with Zach Webster winning the tiebreaker thanks to his victory in the Carl Superstore's territory. And with 3 more races for him left before he is subjected to FARC's best of 10 regulations, we hope to see him elevate further before the end of the championship. The next FARC event will be a tribute to the human species' primitive beginnings, playing on the muddy earth in the Prolapse 100 at the River Spirit Expo Center in Oklahoma. And I, your normal, human FARC racing host, will possibly be back, as I usually am, but I might be a changed man. We shall see.